wrestling fans, joining me at this time on a special edition of Pro Wrestling Underground. He is Draco Stark. How are you today?
I'm great, sir. How are you?
I am doing pretty good. I am in the dirty South, as you are in the dirty South as well. What a great place
Always.
to be from.
Hot place to be from right now, but it is the best place to be from in my professional opinion. And I'll stand on that.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you. I thank my lucky stars every day I was born in the South. I don't know how I would function in other places. But of course, people who don't know, who are unfamiliar with you, former WWE NXT Evolve superstar, had a killer run there. And recently, at least out here in the West Georgia area, where our undisclosed location where we were shooting from is, we recently saw you on the NAWA Supercard. You've recently finished. I call it a trilogy. That was technically they did restart a match. I call it three. You have had three matches versus Skrilla the Great. First off, what was it like going against Skrilla? And for people who don't know, kind of tell us how those went.
Yeah, so really when I first got on the indie scene back in October, November actually was when I could compete. Uh and I got back into Georgia. Everybody was just telling me about Skrilla the Great, Skrilla the Great. We haven't seen him in a while, but man, if you get a chance, you gotta, you gotta get in the ring with him. He's one of the best in Georgia. So I've been hearing it for a long time, and then come to find out, we have very similar backgrounds. He was like, I don't know if you saw my video. He was training in a I think his school was in Macon, his training school. I was on the fields in Macon training. Uh,
Hmm.
he's one of the best in Georgia, and I'm trying to be the best in Georgia. He's got some staying already. I'm trying to make my name known. But like you said, however you look at it, three matches, two matches, what have you, you know, there were three different bells rung. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
20 minutes, no winner. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not expect that out of Skrilla. I've been in the ring with some of the best, some of the biggest, some of the fastest, the high flying, strongest, most technical, but I've never gone to no contest with anybody. So if that tells you anything, that's what we got here. Yeah, 20 minutes, restart, 5 minutes. That second time, it was no contest, but I think we had the same idea. We didn't want to go that long again. I think we wanted to try and win early. And it was
Hmm.
hot. We were beating the heck out of each other early and often. And again, no contest.
Yep. Yeah, I was in attendance for that one. And yeah, I've seen Skrilla face a good many people over the last handful of years, being around the Georgia scene like I have been. And yeah, it's a very short list. And in fact, nobody comes to mind that I've seen in person that has taken him to an actual time limit. So that's a feather in your cap as well. That yeah, usually Skrilla finds a way to get it done, or he finds a way to get out of it some way, one or the other. So I think that's a feather to both of you there,
Oh,
that
I
you couldn't decide a winner.
I surely appreciate that, and I'll take that feather. But like you said, he finds a way to get out of it. I've had him hooked for my move that usually, not always, but it usually puts him down for the three count. But I haven't been able to hit him with it. He keeps getting out. He keeps finding a way to get back up and put me down. But I'm the exact same way. I'm gonna get right back up for that 10 count. You ain't gonna keep me down either.
No. Yeah, he had tried to hit a couple Skrill rides, the cutter from the second rope as he bounces
Yeah.
up and does that. And like you said, you had him locked in the Ginger Thunder Bomb a couple times, and he found a way to get out both those times or a couple of those times, and you just couldn't quite get it. For people who don't know what that is, because we were going over this beforehand, uh, think of it like you start with the inverted DDT that goes down to the backbreaker,
Drop him down to my knee, and
and
I
then
scoop
as
it
you come
down.
up, it comes into a blue thunderbolt.
Yep, I'll whip them out. So I'll drop them down to the knee, like you said, and as they hit my back, I scoop them up, and we take that motion of them, recoiling off the knee, and we just spin them out and slam them down, and we sit out with them.
See, I like that because you're using their motion and their weight against them as well. Because too many people say, "Oh, that's a move you can't do to anybody." Well, you can if you use that motion the way you're doing. You could do that to practically anybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. I haven't had
But
anybody
that's
that
that's why I
can't
was
get it done.
unfamiliar with it is because you couldn't hit Skrilla with it, which was the time I saw it. I know he's probably proud of himself that he was able to duck out of that.
Well, maybe not much longer, but he should be. But I really do think, Skrill is a student of the game as well. We weren't too familiar with each other, but if I had to guess, I know I did. I looked Skrilla up, watched some of his film. Football background. I watch film. That's how I know what I have to do on my end because I train all the time. So I know what I got. Now I just need to know, okay, what do I need to look out for them? And it seems like he's done the same exact thing because, like you said, I can't get him with the Ginger Thunder Bomb.
Yeah, exactly. But we get a little bit of a pin put in that one because a lot of people are like, all right, well, whether it's two matches or three matches or hadn't been a winner, clearly the next one's going to really decide it. Well, you're going to have to wait because NAWA, I give them a lot of credit for this. They're going to make you wait on that one because on the next show, you have a different opponent, which is going to be a completely different style than Skrilla the Great. He has also been on this show as somebody we have followed for the last handful of years as well. You get one Hollywood Hunter James. What do you know about HJ?
Well, like I said earlier, being new to the Indies, I'm having to learn a lot of the people as I go. But like I also just said, I'm a student of the game. So before NAWA called me and said, "Hey, we got you. This is the match." I didn't know much, but as soon as I looked up Hollywood Hunter James, like you said, whole different style, and I am
Mm-hmm.
impressed. He's young, he's fast, he's strong, he's big, he's agile, and honestly, his cardio looks amazing, and that's what I'm most excited about because I know I don't want another no contest. I don't want another no time limit. But I know if we have to go the distance, we'll go the distance. But I'm done. I'm done with no contest. I'm putting people out now. If it's got to be a knockout, it's got to be a knockout submission. Put them down. But Hunter, Hollywood Hunter James, this is gonna be. I think they put it on the poster that this is front runner for maybe match of the night. And I gotta agree. This could be up there. Two great athletes, two different styles clashes. It's gonna be a great fight.
Oh, I'm going to use the term you just used there because I agree. To put this in a wrestling perspective, which is going to show how old I am too, that I don't remember watching this particular show I'm going to talk about until years later. I didn't see it live, but WrestleMania 3, Hogan versus Andre was what sold the ticket. But what everybody remembers from that show is Steamboat versus Savage, which
I knew
very
you were
much
about to
could
go
be
there.
what this NAWA is. What's selling all the tickets or what's selling a lot of the tickets is that, as you said, there's going to be a battle of styles clashes as Avery Styles with possibly AJ and who is his dad in house against somebody familiar with AJ and that
Very
particular side
familiar.
of things. And Alexander Lev, also one of the big top talents in Georgia. You're going to get Avery versus Lev in a Styles clash, which is, like I said, that's where the hype of the show is. But very much you and Hunter could be the Steamboat Savage of this card.
Well, that's big honors, honestly, because like you said, or like I was saying, the cardio is there. Those two men had some of the best cardio. I mean, that match alone, you see them sweating, but neither one of them are going to give up. And that's exactly what I expect out of this one. But like I said, there's going to be a winner, and I got to make sure it's me because if it's for me and Skrilla, that that whenever that match pays off, the 2 out of 3 falls, there's going to be a winner. The winner of that gets the NAWA Heavyweight Championship shot. I can't lose to Hunter. That puts me back.
Mm-hmm.
That's just another person in my way, another person in my way of my goals. So,
Exactly. And in Hunter's case, he is one of the rare people on the independent scene right now that he actually has a book written about him. So if you wanted to do some in-depth back to his origins, he's got a book out, and you could probably learn a lot from that book. And he's probably going to get mad at me for saying that.
he might, but I'm going to use that exactly to my advantage. I like that. Yes, I'm a student of the game, so I'm going to find this book now because I
Yeah,
don't,
because
wrestling's
I mean,
physical, but it's also a
yeah,
mental game too.
oh yeah,
You got to play that
yeah,
mental game.
absolutely. And I want to give a shout out. I want to make sure I get everything right on it. It is a fantastic book. As of course, I own a few copies, but I want to make sure where great, great show. I understand in doing that, but I know Allison wrote the book, but I want to make sure to give her proper credit
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it is a fantastic book. That does detail that the absolute origins of when he got into it to up to like a year or so ago. So where well, either way, Allison writes a great book. You can find it anywhere copies are available.
I'll find it.
It's a really easy read too, and that doesn't mean that it's a simple book. It's very complicated, but it's a very interesting story. That there it is. Rough House: A Father, a Son, and the Pursuit of Pro Wrestling Glory by Allison Lynn Miller. I've met Allison multiple times. She is fantastic. You can find that all kinds of different places. But but yeah, like I said, it's one of the rare times when you can actually read about somebody and know that it's factual. Uh, but that, of course, is going to be on July the 11th at 7 p.m. up at the Spot 365 in Calhoun. That is a fun little venue. I'd been there one other time for a show. It was fun to see the way that the way the NAWA does things up there. I thought it was a fantastic show there as well. Like you said, that place was completely packed. I didn't know if you could get any more people in there without the fire marshal coming by, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I honestly think we were right at fire marshal capacity. I mean, it was standing room only. There wasn't a seat in the house empty.
No, and the fun thing is Phil, the main promoter and everything up there, that if it would have come down to it, he would have stepped outside to allow one more person in to see that.
I mean, that's the type of person Phil is. He's putting on these shows. He's not putting on these shows for him. He's not putting
Mm,
the shows on for, you know. I mean, we definitely want to wrestle. We definitely want to,
yeah.
make our name, but he's putting it on for the fans. And that speaks to Phil's character. He's a knucklehead sometimes as a promoter. He likes to, but he's smart and he's doing it right.
Well, I mean, we all know the wrestling business has origins in the carny world, and you kind of got to have at least a little bit or a lot of carny in you to really have fun and really do well in the wrestling business. You got to be a little carny at least, or it just doesn't work.
You have to.
But also, besides that, you have spent some time in Alabama over there at Retinal Pro, where you are oddly enough, and I didn't even do this on purpose. Oddly enough, you are feuding with some people named the Carnies, led by Hunter Drake and a couple others. What's been going on in your time with Retinal Pro, and how did you cross paths with the Carnies?
So I came into Retinal Pro. My first show was in January, and the Carnies held all the titles, and all I heard was the Carnies this, the Carnies that. The Carnies are the standard. Everybody in the whole, all the Indies knows the Carnies, and they were just kind of running the promotion their way, and I wasn't really, you know, I'm new there, but that's not how I was taught and raised. So, and I had some words with the promoter, Brian Maxwell, because he was just buddy buddy with them, letting stuff slide. But I found a few other guys who were had the same disappointments, disgruntles that I had. So I formed a group. We stomped out the promoter, stomped out his son, we stomped out the Carnies, and now we're feuding with the Carnies. They lost all their titles. Um, we helped them lose those titles, I'm proud to say. But and since we took over that, um, the Natural Born Shooters, that's our name. It's me, Derek James, Zach Abstract, Tyler Franks, uh, and Stephen Michaels just turned on Maxwell too. So um, yeah, basically we're running the show now, and we're cleaning it up. We're doing it our way. So
That's a fun group. I'm familiar with a couple of those guys, and the ones that I'm familiar with, you can't help but like them in the ring and like them outside the ring because, like you said, they upstanding people that are not going to put up with the riffraff that the carnies are trying to push around, and they're also people I wouldn't want to cross. So I'm glad you picked the side of people that you don't want to fight.
well, I wish everybody saw it our way. Unfortunately, the fans don't see it our way. The carnies don't. We're killing them, but they don't want to die. They're dying slowly. Carry awful, Nick, Iggy, Hunter, Drake. You know, they're tough. I'll give them that. They don't die, and they're hard hitting, but they haven't beat us yet. We got their number, and they're not gonna beat us. Like I said, we're taking over. We're cleaning up.
Absolutely, and yeah, at least Iggy and Drake that I'm familiar with, they do have that reputation that they are, to catch people up from the 90s and the 2000s of wrestling. They are quite the little nuggets that you just can't get rid of.
Absolutely. And if you get a chance, I would definitely look up Carrie Awful. He's one of the most well respected workers around here, even by the workers. That man knows his stuff. As much as I hate his guts, and I tell him every time we're in the ring, I tell it to his face. That's nothing I wouldn't that he doesn't know. But you know, I'm a man that I'll give them their respect if they earned it. Well, let me take that back. I don't respect him. I respect his work. Let me rephrase that. I do not
Yeah,
respect the Cardinals or
there you go.
Maxwell.
Yeah, there's a difference in the two. I've explained that to people too. You can like people and dislike their methods, or you can like their methods or their body of work and dislike them. It's just you don't have to do both.
You don't. And that's the beauty about wrestling. We're not in there to be friends. We're in there to wrestle. We're in there to beat each other up. Somebody's got to win. And unfortunately, it's got to be at the expense of the other person because
Yep.
not saying I don't lose, but that's my mentality. It's at your expense, not mine.
Absolutely. And of course, we're finishing up with our special guest tonight, Drako Starx. You mentioned before the show that you're about to be in South America a little bit for All Caribbean Wrestling, maybe. Tell us a little
That's
bit
right.
about that. Have you been down there before, or what are you looking forward to?
So I started with All Caribbean Wrestling in December of 2025 when I got released. They're actually one of the first shows. Actually, they are the first show that booked me after my release. Had some coaches, some trainers that I worked with in NXT that had worked for them previously. Uh, they put in a good word. Lince Dorado, actually, I worked with him, trained in Lucha for a year with him, but he worked with All Caribbean Wrestling for a while. If people aren't familiar, Mark Henry is the CEO of that company. So he's the face of the company. Pope Elijah Burke is also one of the faces of the company. He's a mainstay, main eventer. I think he's the longest reigning champion. He's not the champion now, but I think he was the longest reigning All Caribbean wrestling champion. But it's
Wow.
awesome. I've been to my first show was in Miami with them in December. In February, I went to Barbados. In April, we were supposed to go to the Bahamas, but something uh, with the government, we couldn't get that worked out. So we had to postpone that to a later date. And now we're taking it to South America. So we're going international.
That's gonna be fun. That's good, and that's a good cast of people there. I've seen the Pope recently with his NWA stuff. I know he works a lot with Big Strong Mims, who I've talked to him
Yep.
about the Pope as well. Mark Henry's just a class act, and Lince Dorado I got to see up close, and yeah, TV doesn't do him justice to what he does when you're this close to him. He's unbelievable.
So he trained me in I trained him with a full year with him in lucha. Um, and I loved it. Me and him got really close. We had a dark match. They gave me a dark match before NXT went live,
Mm.
and they gave me one against him. And it was the student versus trainer. Unfortunately, trainer won. Trainer prevailed, but I got to show him what I was really made of, and that's one of my favorite matches, and I'm very grateful for that man tremendously. He's helped me out a lot, especially just getting set up on the indies.
Well, that means there needs to be a part two or a part three, even. I mean, you got to get another piece and somewhere down the road, and this needs to be where everybody can see it. So either we need to live stream it and or put it in a venue we can fill up.
Absolutely. Let's make it happen. AAA, NXT,
Yeah,
Evolve, whatever needs to happen. Let's make it happen again. I'd love to make it, part like you said, let's make it a three part.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, clearly you're going to take part two, so we're going to have the rubber match to see who's going to come out of that
Absolutely.
because you're not going to
Absolutely.
get fooled twice. So
No, no, I've grown so much since then, and he hasn't got to see me, unfortunately. No, I'm sure he's keeping touch. I know he keeps touch because he texts me all the time, but he's not training me anymore, so he's not hands. He doesn't see it every day,
I
so I might have a few tricks up the sleeve to pull out on him. So
I really do want to see that match. That match is fantastic, and I would say that whether you were looking at me across the screen or not, and hopefully the audience would want to see that too. Um, I'm going to give you the last word on these two things, and we'll go one at a time. What is your message to the fans of why they should come see you versus Hunter James July 11th up in Calhoun at the Spot 365?
plain and simple. I mean, what you get out of me is you get a hard hitting match no matter who's across the ring. But for this match specifically, you're going to get high flying, hard hitting. You're going to get the real deal. You're going to get a true wrestling match. Honestly, I would expect a match the level, the caliber of me and Skrilla or Lev and Nick Nemeth, even Lev and I, because Lev and I, we've shared the ring multiple times in NAWA. Yeah, I'll just keep it simple for the fans. If you like wrestling, if you want to see the real deal, this is the match you want to see. Plain and simple. July 11th, spot 365 in Calhoun, Georgia. NAWA.
And then now I'm gonna leave you with the one you were probably waiting to do this entire show. What is your message to Hollywood Hunter James as to what maybe not giving strategy away, but what's in store for him on July 11th in Calhoun?
I'll keep it simple for him. I'm coming at you. I'm hitting hard. You are not going to be able to put me down easily, and I'm going to get right back up. Because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you're just another name, another stat, another obstacle standing in front of me, getting in my way of that championship. So I'm gonna go through him. I'm gonna go through Skrilla, and then whether it's Styles or Lev, whoever's wearing that championship, I'm coming after him. Because Draco is always gonna flip the switch. And that's on
And there you
facts.
go. Strong words from a stronger competitor. And he was our featured guest tonight, Drako Starx, formerly of WWE, NXT, and Evolve, now tearing up the indie scene all across the South and South America now. Uh, this has been a great
International.
edition. Exactly. This has been a great edition of Pro Wrestling Underground. Join us each and every week on the Underground as we talk all indie scenes all around the Georgia and South area. For my guest, Drako Starx, I am Jeremy the Impact York. We will see you guys next week. Deuces, gooses. Go watch wrestling.